So today we got up a little bit early and we headed downstairs to be picked up for our circle tour by Inoa Tours. This was, remember we got a $100 tour credit from Costco for booking the hotel package. This was a $100 credit. So when I called to book the tour, because we booked this super late, the original tour that would have been suggested by the company was already booked out. But they said, oh, we also contract with other companies, and we have this option, which is $130 some per person and includes lunch. And I was like, well, do you have any others? And he said, yeah, I've got one that's $105 per person, but it doesn't include lunch. And I would encourage you to do this one because it stops at Waimea and the other tours don't. And I was like, well, I don't really know what Waimea is. And he said, oh, it's a waterfall. You can go swim in it. Like, oh, okay, that sounds nice. So I booked it. And the nice thing is they do pick you up from your hotel. We were the very first ones picked up, so we picked our seats.
It felt like the guy was waiting for a while, but we don't know. We got down there almost exactly at 8 o'clock.
Yeah, we got down there literally at 8 o'clock, and he said, oh, I was just calling you. And I do have his number on there, so he was telling the truth. I'm not going to call him. Anyway, so we go around and we pick up all the people.
For the next 8 hours we do this.
Okay, no, we're on the beginning. Okay. So we go around out to several other hotels. The bus is fully packed, which I didn't think was allowed yet. I thought they were still at 75%, but maybe that's changed.
Maybe it's 80% because the first 2 seats are open on the left by the driver.
Yeah, but 2 seats out of that whole bus wouldn't be 80%.
Well, there's 26. It's a 28 passenger bus, and they had 26 people on it.
26 divided by 28. Yeah, that's 92.8%.
Yes, if they had 92, it'd be.
It's not an A. It's still an A minus. Anyway, so we picked up people at every hotel, and some of them were good with masking. Others looked annoyed. A lot of them brought food on, which I thought was weird.
They didn't eat it. Like the German couple brought a bunch of food and they didn't touch it.
The son was eating chips.
Oh, I didn't catch it.
Anyway, so we picked up people. The whole bus was full. Our first stop was at Pali Lookout. Okay, so first thing about this tour. Bus driver drove me insane. He started out okay. He started out very friendly.
For context, we've never done a guided tour.
Okay, we are not guided tour people. The only time that we've done a guided tour is when we went on the hop-on, hop-off bus in London. And we used that to get our bearings and then go exploring ourselves.
And if you don't put your headphones in, it's not guided.
Yeah, which for the most part we don't put the headphones in. We just enjoy, okay, so this is where Big Ben is, this is where Parliament is, this is where Bagel Bake is. And you get your bearings from that. I've always been hesitant to do a guided tour because I am a very independent style traveler. It was hard for me just traveling with him when we first started dating and having to rationalize the needs and wants of other people.
She used to call me Scooter because she'd be taking a photo and I'd scoot along and she'd have to catch up. And now I just kind of...
You hang back with me and you help me with my lenses, which I appreciate. So, when we would go to a place like Pali Lookout, which was lovely, it was a little bit drizzly, but just this gorgeous view of the whole valley.
The wind was
nuts.
God awful, but
made my hair look insane, absolutely bonkers.
But it was fun level of intense. Like it was.
Yeah.
It wasn't like.
It wasn't scary.
Yeah, it was warm, so it wasn't like bone cutting cold. So that was nice.
And there was a little mist. I wouldn't really call it rain, but...
You could see it like traveling up the hills and stuff. It was
so
awesome.
He would say, okay, so we're going to be at a place for 15 minutes. And we would be back there at 13:14, because that's who we are. And this one German lady.
This is the first look at it.
This was our first view of the German lady. So it was her husband, who was not German, super generic American, and their 2 generic American kids. She was like a German Molly Weasley, but not like as with it as Molly Weasley. She's kind of a space cadet. So, German Molly Weasley comes back. her whole family is on the bus waiting with us, and they have no idea where she is. And she just meanders on about 6 or 7 minutes late. Keep in mind, there's no bathrooms, there's no gift shop, there's literally nothing out there except for the lookout. I don't know why she separated from her family, unless they were having a fight, but they covered it up well. So, she comes back on the bus. He passes around the menu, and you have a bunch of different choices of shrimps.
For lunch.
Yes.
Which is like 4 hours later.
Yeah, but still, he had to call in the order, which was fine. He had one printed menu that he sent around. Just, I would say, is a no-no in COVID times. Stop passing things around. Anyway.
Sanitize after every time they pass something around.
Well, we did, but not everyone did. Anyway, so there were all the different lunch options where it was garlic shrimp,
butter,
lemon pepper shrimp,
I think they had
tempura
just plain
shrimp. So your shrimp options were original shrimp. Oh, you're right. Butter garlic shrimp, lemon pepper shrimp, coconut shrimp, tempura shrimp, spicy garlic shrimp, chicken katsu, salt and pepper shrimp, or veggie noodles. And then you got to pick a drink too. So I got the lemon pepper shrimp, and Phil got the butter garlic. So he took our orders, which we did by like raising your hands, and I felt like I was in elementary school. I did enjoy that because I remember
he would just
like
count how many, and then people would be like, get to the very end. He's like, "Oh, I wanted this." It's like, why didn't you raise your hand 5 minutes? No.
And it was all, well, it was German Molly Weasley's family that did it. Yeah. Nobody else changed except for German Molly Weasley, and it was all the drinks. Anyway, may that be the worst thing that happened, which it wasn't. So we get back onto the bus, and then we go over to...
I don't think the woman in front of us spoke English, because her daughter kept raising her hand for her.
I know. Byodo Inn Temple, which, in order to get to the Byodo Inn Temple, you have to drive through a graveyard.
Oh, it was... Like, there were people actively, like, kneeling...
Grieving and crying?
Like, kneeling beside the grave of a loved one, like,
and
just
here you
absolutely gut-wrenchingly grieving.
And there's tour bus after tour bus
just
after
driving
tour
by
bus.
him. Yeah, he's like 3 graves from the road, and you're just like, I'm gonna go...
Yeah, it was very gut-wrenching. So we get over to the temple, and the admission to the temple was included in the ticket, so that was nice. So
the temple itself was nice. If they had a different road to the temple that didn't go through a cemetery, I would see it's okay. But, I mean, they had a lot of signs to be respectful of the temple.
Turn off your engines, be quiet, which none of the buses listened to.
Yeah, they all idled.
They all idled, they made noise. People were scrambling down the side of the hill that had to park up there rather than going around. Yeah, I felt uncomfortable there. Not because it was in a graveyard, but I felt uncomfortable with the behavior of other people, including the bus drivers, in a graveyard. It's not just a tourist attraction. It's literally where people's loved ones are buried. So we got to the temple, we got in line, we rang the bell. I guess all of our negative thoughts were banished. Or, honestly, I had a lot more negative thoughts after that.
I think they got channeled into Haley. I think you didn't hit it hard enough.
I hit it pretty hard.
I hit it. I think the hardest out of that whole line.
You did, because
and everyone behind me, yeah, everyone laughed. I was like, shh, you gotta hit it hard. You got a gong, you're gonna hit it as hard as you can.
So I think I might have absorbed all those negative thoughts that they were supposed to banish. Anyway, so then we walked up to the
shrine.
No, it wasn't the shrine.
They had a pergola off to the side.
It was the meditation area, and then we walked into the main temple, which was lovely. You had to take off your shoes, and then we were heading over to the gift shop.
People just left their shoes on the ground, like they were gonna walk around the building to grab them, and I was just like, why don't you just carry them with you? And all the surfaces inside the temple said, don't put your shoes on this surface.
Yeah.
I was like, do people just pick up their shoes and just lay them around inside? Like,
probably. People are idiots.
I mean, there was a woman inside meditating too. That was interesting.
So then we went in line for the gift shop because you could get food to feed to the fishies, you could get souvenirs, you could get the little prayer things that you tie onto the cool prayer tree.
That was out, but yeah.
No, I saw a couple getting them.
Oh, their sign by the tree said it were out.
Oh, they probably didn't remove the sign. Anyway, so we stood in line for probably 6 or 7 minutes.
That's where you can buy the incense, candles for the incense.
Yeah.
Too.
So 6 or 7 minutes we were in line. We looked at our watch. We decided, okay, we're not that far from the entrance, but we don't want to be the ones to hold everyone up.
Yeah, we're like 3 minutes enough to walk back. And
so
we gave up a gift shop, something Haley does not do.
Yeah. So we walk back to the bus. We get there maybe 1 minute before we're supposed to leave, and we're, oh God, everyone's gonna look at us. no one is there. Not one person is on the bus.
At time, yeah.
Yeah.
So we left. We went.
We just walked across the parking lot.
Towards the temple.
Yeah, because it was the graveyard on the other side, which clearly we've shown how we feel on that. So we walked back across the parking lot and just kind of admired the trees and made judgy looks at other people for not being incredibly respectful.
Yeah, our bus got double parked in by the big tour buses. Ours was a little guy, and they were like the 50-passenger ones. It didn't really matter, but it's just like it's not organized at all. There's no one parking them properly, and it's just.
My complaint is that we waited for another probably 20 minutes, and then people came in with stuff from the gift shop.
Yeah.
We would have been in front of them.
Yeah, we were in front of them.
They didn't apologize.
They had cold drinks. Like, we went in and got cold drinks from the thing. It's just like, they probably fed the fish too, though we had to wait for them to do that.
Yeah.
And it's just like, they're like, oh, they come back now. It's like.
The bus driver didn't even say boo. He didn't even say, okay, just to be respectful of everyone's times and wishes, make sure you're back here at this time.
It doesn't matter for him. He gets paid overtime.
I don't care about his overtime. I care about, I paid for a tour to go to these separate places and enjoy them, and I'm not being allowed to enjoy them to what I want because other people are jerks. So I was in a bad mood. I'm still in a bad mood about it.
She was just in a good mood. She's in a bad mood thinking about it.
Yeah. So after the Byodo Inn Temple, we drove along the water, saw lots of lovely places that we would have had more fun being at.
Yeah, stopping for a minute, taking a photo, getting back into the car. The thing that bugs me the most is we watch another video of this, and they stopped at this random. I don't even.
Mercantile.
I don't remember the name of it. It's just some macadamia nut shop that you can tell literally survives only because the buses stop there, and they have some deal with the bus agencies where they stop there, and it's on the tour. When we booked it, it said,
look out for special unscheduled tour stops where
it basically made it seem like if the driver's driving by something that looks neat and there's time, he'll do it. But he, like, as soon as we left the temple, he was like, okay, we're going to this nut place. Obviously it was booked. I mean, like, they're going to do it. But he didn't do, like, there was no, this is your random stop. It was just, we're going to the nut place right now, and you're.
He was so unengaged, like, the whole time. He was legitimately just a recording, and the bus was auto-driving. There was just no emotion. I don't expect great showmanship, but I expect someone with a pulse.
Yeah, I mean.
So the macadamia nut place was a shit show.
Oh my gosh.
There were so many people.
They had free samples, and, like.
People would descend on them like sharks. And it was just wall-to-wall people with inflated prices. And I'm not saying that I didn't buy anything, because I got some unsalted macadamia nuts for my mom, and I got her some Kona coffee.
Yeah,
and I got a reusable bag because I didn't know how expensive it was. I'm still mad about that. It was like $4.
They had, like,
still, I was in a really bad mood at this point because
I just went
I'd
outside.
spent too much money, and the bathroom line was supremely long. And so
The male bathroom was a joke.
well, so was the female bathroom. Anyway,
It was even out of soap. I told the lady who was doing the samples because she was walking by the bathroom on my way back, and I popped out and she was just walking by. And I was like, "Hey, the bathroom's out of soap," and she's like, "Oh, I'm doing samples." That was her response. I totally forgot about this because I literally left the building.
You didn't tell me any of this.
I left the building immediately after and sat out front because I was just done.
And used sanitizer.
Yeah.
So the guy had told us like 20 minutes. I don't remember. It was something like that.
He gave us 25 minutes for this place. He gave us the same amount of time there as...
The temple.
Was the temple? I thought it was Dole.
No, Dole was 35 minutes. Anyway, so he had told us a time, and I was feeling saucy, so I was taking my time coming back because I looked at the bus and it was still empty and it was the time. So I went back out and I looked at
She saw me sitting in there by myself.
Yeah. So I went back and I looked at this like little pearl vendor, and the best thing there was a diamond encrusted Garfield necklace for $10,000.
It was a diamond. It was Garfield laying down
Like Burt Reynolds.
in a Burt Reynolds pose, and it was just.
It's amazing. I had no desire to buy it, but I did take a photo. So then we got back onto the bus, and we drove. Then we stopped at Fumi's Shrimp for lunch, which is also created exclusively for people on tour buses.
I mean, you gotta hand it to them. The North Shore is known for these shrimp places, and when they said we'll take a lunch in the north, I was like, oh, we'll go to the world famous shrimp place up north. I was like, oh, that would be awesome. That would make this tour worth it to go to this. Every YouTube channel covers this place up there. It's supposed to be absolutely fantastic. I was like, oh, that'd be really nice.
That's a redeeming quality to this tour.
No, we went to Joe's Crab Shack next door, who has a deal with the tour company. So, I mean, it wasn't bad food. It just...
It felt overly produced and made for the lowest general denominator, lowest common denominator. Which, so, he just told everyone to sit there, and everyone sat there, and I decided to go meander around because I was losing my shit at this
I
point,
actually wandered
realistically.
around at the same time, too.
Yeah.
He said he told the company to be there, or I guess when they call it in, they have to ask me when they'll be there. Well, we got there 15 minutes early, and so the food wasn't ready.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, we got there 11:45, and he told me to be there at noon, and that's why the food wasn't all ready at once. But he brought the sodas out. He brought the ice cold sodas out first and left them on the table. So it's like, here, let these get warm by the time your food gets there.
He can't carry everything at one time.
I know,
He's an
but
older dude working it by himself.
I know.
He should have had a helper, honestly.
Yeah, if he had a... Yeah, we talked about this later.
Anyway, so food arrives. Oh, well, I'm meandering around and I got us some macadamia nut ice cream because I didn't get a sample at the macadamia nut place.
That was...
It was okay. It was worth $3.
Yeah,
I mean, it was little for $3. It was like... It was 3
I had
ounces
one
of
nut
ice cream.
in the half I ate.
You got a nut?
Yeah.
I didn't...
There was like a little chunk of a nut in there.
I got a tiny chunk. Like, it was supposed to be like... I didn't know that you got a whole nut?
No, it was a chunk of a nut.
Oh, I got one chunk of a nut too.
And there's two in that thing.
Okay.
For
well, let's finish that
macadamia
one.
ice cream, it was kind of not. It was more vanilla than anything else.
It had a subtle macadamia flavor. I'm not mad at the ice cream. I would spend $3 on that again.
It was nice.
So we
It hit
got
the
our-
spot. It was definitely nice and cold.
Yeah.
It was hot out there, and the only seating available was like around back in the sun.
There was some in there, but you had to like sit next to people, and I wasn't super comfortable with that. So we ate our shrimpies, which were decent. They were good size.
And they're not shelled. Well, none of them are shelled.
Well, they have a slit down the back where it's easy peel, but they're not that great at removing the vein. We had to
I had 2 or 3 that were partially
almost.
veined.
I had 2 where the veins were fully intact.
Oh, mine were like they were deveined, but the process of pulling the vein out left it on the side of the shrimp, and I pulled that off.
No, I had 2 completely non-deveined shrimp.
Like I cut them after Thanksgiving dinner.
Yeah, and I'm just glad that you and I know about deveining shrimp because I guarantee that some people ate a lot of shrimp poop.
Ooh.
Yeah. So, while everyone else was just kind of sitting around, we went out and we found some cranes, which were lovely. Well, Phil had found them previously, but I went after we ate to take some photos of them. So, after lunch, we hopped back on the bus. Boom! And then we went to Waimea Falls Park.
Which is
That was the highlight of the tour for me.
by far the coolest spot. Thing is everyone goes there for the waterfall.
Yeah,
they
because
literally
it's called Waimea Falls. And they say, oh, you can swim there,
Well,
except
technically-
if you don't have an open wound, don't do that.
the thing is when you go in, it's Waimea Cultural Center, I think, or something like that.
Yeah.
But everyone goes there for the falls. So literally, they're paying money just to walk to the back of the entire. And there's a path that goes straight to the middle. So
It doesn't go straight, it meanders.
a little bit, it goes back and forth. But literally, they just get on this and they go. They don't. There's so many side paths. There's like a botanical garden. There's a bird part.
It's like an aviary,
There
but
was-
it's not enclosed. And then there's the cultural aspect where there's a whole archaeological site. And Phil and I, we had already decided that we didn't want to swim because there's a warning where, with that, the open wound thing freaked me out. I don't think we have any open wounds. Well, Phil has a blister. But the idea of there's being bacteria in the water,
brain-eating amoebas.
it's not brain-eating amoebas, it's just a bacteria. But that warning kind of creeped me out.
And there was no showers. So it's like, You go in this, and then you're gonna.
Are there no showers?
There's nowhere to rinse off afterwards.
Really?
Yeah,
Oh,
that's
I
what
didn't
one of
know
the
that.
guys in the bus saying to one of the other guys on the bus that there's no
Ooh.
showers.
Anyway, so we walked around the cultural parts, the botanical gardens, and we had a flipping amazing time because we got away from everyone.
Little bamboo forest they get.
We were finally able to do things at our
They
own
had-
pace and get away from people.
They had the anchor to the HMS Daedalus,
Yeah. I was flipping out over the archaeological site.
1780 something. There was just a anchor sitting there, and people were just walking by, and it was just like, guys, there's literally.
The site was just incredible, though, the archaeology there. And they had a native woman there who was showing how to make bark
Paper or no,
bark fabric,
cloth, yeah.
which was amazing, and she was super sweet and knowledgeable about it.
Like she would gather native plants from the botanical garden, take them home just to experiment with dyes that she would use on her cloth.
Yeah. And everyone else was like, let's go swimming. And I mean, I get that people have different interests, but
Or a mile long hike.
it wasn't a mile, it was a 3/4 mile. But that isn't why we didn't do it. We wanted to do something off to ourselves, which it was funny. At the very beginning, the tour guide was walking up with the people up to the waterfall, and then he went around and found us, and he was like, "Are you guys lost?" I'm like, "No, we're doing our own thing." He's like, "Okay, be back at the bus at 2:45."
Well, I mean, he didn't go up to the waterfall. He like walks them up to the path.
Yeah, he guided them a little bit.
And then
But
he's, like,
anyway,
gone.
it was lovely to do our own thing, and just we are not into the group thing.
Yeah, like if they were friends, maybe, but these are complete strangers.
I don't even think I'd want to do that with friends, frankly. Except for maybe my college friends or Katie.
Yeah, like I've said, like
Yeah.
good friends.
Like-
Like I would do that with John. That'd be fun.
Yes, like close friends.
Andy would be fun.
Andy would be fun too. Andy would be making fun
Cliff
movie
would be
references.
bosses.
Yeah. One of the most fun things about the Waimea Falls area is a lot of movies were filmed there, including George of the Jungle and Joe versus the Volcano, which are two movies I care deeply about.
So even watch Joe versus the Volcano get ready for.
I didn't even know it was filmed in Hawaii. I just knew it involved luggage and traveling to an island, so I loved Joe versus the Volcano already, so that was fun. So we had
May
a
you live 1,000 years.
May you live 1,000 years. You have to say it right. So we were in a really good mood after the park, and then we hit traffic.
Real quick.
Okay.
There was the gift shop was okay, but the gift shop featured
A lizard!
There was a lizard that wandered
Yeah.
on in, and Haley was
Cute little guy.
yeah. And then we found a second lizard outside. And we're taking photos. Yeah, it was nice.
Yeah, the parking lot's awful, but I still kind of want to go back there because that was just so much
If we
fun.
take the bus, we don't have to.
Worry about parking.
You just have to walk.
I mean,
in
we
and it's
barely
like-
scratched the surface of that thing, and we were there for almost 2 hours.
Yeah, the first hour went by so fast.
So did the second hour, frankly. So, we hit a lot of traffic on the way back because of the turtles.
There's a beach with turtles. That is right by the water.
We've been to Yellowstone many, many times, and we always get caught in bison jams. Never in my life did I think I'd get stuck in a turtle jam,
It was great.
which was super annoying at first, but then we saw 3 turtles, and it totally redeemed it. But the entire time, the guy was just trying to teach us.
Hawaiian.
I appreciate the learning how to speak Hawaiian, but it was almost 4 hours probably cumulatively of him just saying words and asking people how to say this word, and then once they say it incorrectly, him correcting them. It's like, that's not how you teach. That's how you make someone feel like garbage. No wonder everyone wasn't responding to you, dude.
Well, I mean, I heard something. A YouTube video was mentioning how the locals consider it rude when you try to speak the language.
Well, it's if you try to speak Pidgin, not if you try to speak Hawaiian. That's different.
What's pigeon?
Pidgin is where you mix English with Hawaiian, where it's
Oh, it's like how the locals would actually
Yes.
speak it.
And then he would point out trees, and then every time I'd ask him about a different tree, he would say, "I don't know," which was annoying.
Or the so he was pointing out chimneys, houses with chimneys, because that is such a thing out here. No one has chimneys because it's a tropical island, but it gets down to 50, and I mean, if you're if it's
you're
always
used to the
80
80s.
degrees and it gets down to 50, that's going to be cold for you. And I get it. Chimney, and plus chimneys are just nice to have because you can sit by a roaring fire.
Anyway,
But so he's pointing these out, right? And he would like make us wait, or he'd point out like someone's private statue on their balcony. But then we were passing these signs that were in Hawaiian. They weren't explained at all.
They were brown
They weren't
signs,
translated.
brown signs, at least on the mainland, translate to cultural locations or cultural attractions. And there were probably 6 or 7 of these signs with the same,
They had like a rocky pyramid kind of shape.
yeah, with separate little rocks all in a pyramid shape, and we kept passing them.
And they were in Hawaiian, so it's not like we can. Hey, what's this? And then
So I finally asked him, I was like, what are those brown signs? And he was like, oh, I don't see them. I don't know. And then eventually he saw one and he was like, oh, that was the boundary in between
Like
areas.
parishes.
They go all the way up to the mountain.
and like
and
they
then
form a
they
triangle.
were pie shaped. Yeah. And then
That was it. No background to that. No what impacts it today on the island. Nothing. Just that's what those are, and it's just like.
That sounds so
That's-
much more interesting
I would
than
listen
a
to
chimney.
that a million times more than pointing out the White House with the chimney or the house where Shirley Temple lived.
In fairness,
Yeah, that is pretty good.
I like where Shirley Temple lived. That was
nice.
fun.
She got a good lawn.
She did have a nice lawn. So the last stop of the tour was the Dole Pineapple Plantation, or as it says on the map, the Dole Pineapple Hut. Just noticed that.
There was no hut there. It's a big house. A
So
building.
we got there around
We
3:45.
had been looking, so we look forward to this because we watched a YouTube video with a couple that we like to watch, and they loved the.
Part of the reason we went to Hawaii was for this gift shop. And we're going to go back to the Dole Plantation,
So-
just leveling with you right now. So this was just our smash and grab gift shop run.
Yeah, it was like the video made it seem like they're just, and they had a lot of stuff. They were actually out a lot of stuff because you can tell because they had a lot of this certain type of pineapple plushie. And if an item was out somewhere, they would stick that pineapple plushie there. So you can always tell like there's an entire wall of stuff missing because pandemic stuff, or
I
they're
honestly think that it's-
stupidly busy right now.
that if we went to that gift shop first thing in the morning and not at the end of the day, it would be a night and day experience.
Oh, they'd probably be able to restock somewhat, but they're still going to be short on items. But it's just like, I mean, I get facing and why you want to fill out empty holes, but it was like
The pineapple plushie was funny. I'm not mad at that.
it's just fun. Just how much stuff they have, it's crazy.
So we knew it was the last stop of the day, and we were like, well, if everyone else has been jerks about coming back, we're going to enjoy ourselves.
Oh, I would.
And we had a nice leisurely shopping experience. Not as leisurely as I could have been, because I really could have hammed that up. But we still enjoyed ourselves. We went back and forth. We put some stuff back. We switched bags. And we got back 10 minutes after the time.
And we
that
thought
he
they
said
were
to
going to
be.
be sitting there.
And we were
staring at
ready
us.
to just
Saunter
strut
on.
on up. Sorry, the goody two-shoes were not so good at the pineapple place. And we got back there, and there was one other person.
Yeah, and
And German Molly Weasley and her family were
We're
sitting
sitting
in front of the bus, staring at it with their pineapple.
not even just the regular pineapple. They had
The souvenir Dole
Souvenir
Whip cups,
Dole-
which,
Dole-
in fairness, we're going to get to, but not when everyone else is waiting.
yeah. We would have done Dole Whip if we had known that we had time to get Dole Whip and then stare at the bus. So literally, the kids got on first, right? Of the Weasley family. If you will.
Yes.
Weasley makes them sound cooler than they were, but they were.
She reminded me so much of a lame Molly Weasley from Germany.
Anyways, the kids get on first. Everyone else gets on the bus, and we're waiting for them. And then we're waiting for the Japanese mom and daughter who used the restroom at every single stop, and we waited for them
And
twice.
it's not that they used the restroom at every stop, it's that literally we kept waiting for them because it was the last thing they would do before they got back on the bus. And so every time we looked out at the bathroom,
they were in
they
line.
were there.
Like literally, they would eat food, they go check out the sites, and then use the restroom.
I don't even know if they would eat food. I just know that they would do whatever, and then they ended it by going to the bathroom at all
And every
1, 2, 3, 4 stops. I don't think I could go to the bathroom 4 times in 8 hours. There's a 5th stop, but there was no bathroom at the Lookout. If there was, I'm sure they would have used it.
And I mean, whatever. But just if you're gonna know you need the restroom often,
Start with that.
or Yeah. So we were waiting for them, and then they finally got on the bus. They got on after the German couple. But the German couple,
Went back off.
yeah, and they stood there talking to each other off the bus, and we're
Like looking at the bus, and we're just like.
staring at them like, we would like to go now.
So the tour guide had a special treat for us, which actually was nice.
Yeah.
It was cut up pineapple with.
We thought it would be pineapple because it's Dole Plantation.
We just thought it was going to be straight up pineapple, but he put the Lee Hing powder on top of it, which is dried sweet and sour plum, and 10 out of 10.
You think that was his special? Or you think the tour does that?
No, I think the tour just does that. That man doesn't have a creative bone in his body. So we had the Lee Hing, and then we drove back, and that drive back was just.
It was murderous. At one point in the drive, I pulled up my Google Maps because we were going to be the first drop off, and I navigated from where we were to the back. It said 38 minutes, and I wanted to die. I wasn't even going to tell her it was going to be 38 minutes because she was dying.
He wouldn't shut up, and he was saying the most boring things about
The thing is he did not let a dull moment go by. Like, he had to say something. He couldn't just turn up the background music and let us just.
He had Jack Johnson. He had ukulele music. All he would have to do is say, "All right, cousins," because he called everyone cousins. That was cute. Except he didn't care at all. Just say, "All right, cousins, we've got some traffic, so I'm just going to turn up the tunes."
And while I pay attention to traffic.
Yeah, he looked off to the sides
Yeah,
when he was showing us stuff. That made me a little uncomfortable.
Yeah. I'm sure if we had a big tour bus, we would have had a tour guide, but.
Yeah. So we ended up coming back. Thank God we were the first people off the tour. We came back, decompressed a little bit, and then.
Oh, and he would, real quick, he would always say, or no.
Now, I don't know how many of you out there watch 90 Day Fiancé, but the guy who was with the Ukrainian girl that nobody thought was real, David and Lana, yeah. So, you watch the season of 90 Day Fiancé with David and Lana, where David goes, This tour guide did it every 45 seconds.
Yeah, if you try to think about something.
And at first I was just annoying myself with it, thinking, oh, this is awful. But then I told Phil, so then he was paying attention too. So that was enjoyable, so he was suffering as well. Alright, camera's almost running out, so let's wrap this up. We came back, decompressed, and then we decided we have a gift card for Red Lobster, and we're trying to save some money.
It's funny, as the tour guide told us, oh, you see this Red Lobster, go behind it and you have the authentic Hawaiian experience. And we're like, but we have a gift card.
I mean, I'm sure the other place was delicious and lovely and more authentic.
My mother-in-law, her mom, gave us the gift card. And
She gave it to us in December of 2019, and we've been holding on to it until we could get unlimited shrimp again post-pandemic. Which, I mean, the pandemic is not over by any means.
But on Mondays,
unlimited shrimp is back.
On Mondays. And so Debbie treated us to some rather nice shrimpies.
And the highlight of it was probably the coconut shrimp, because I had ordered coconut shrimp as part of our unlimited shrimpy thing. And a plate of coconut shrimp arrived, so we just started eating it because it was coconut shrimp. And the waiter came back over like 10 minutes later saying, "Did they just deliver coconut shrimp to you, nothing else?" And we were like, "Yeah." I thought it was weird, but I had ordered coconut shrimp. And he was like, "Oh, that was meant for the table behind you. That was their coconut shrimp." And I was like,
so then he told.
It was so good, though.
He had to tell the couple guys saying, "Hey, you guys, we gave it to the wrong people. You'll get it, right?" And then we get our plates, and then Haley gets.
I have 4 coconut shrimpies on
You're
there.
supposed to have 6.
Yeah.
And he has to tell Haley, "We're out of coconut shrimp. Sorry, you got a small serving."
You got an incomplete order.
And then he had to go tell the people who we ate their coconut shrimps. They were out of coconut shrimp after he told them that he was going to put an order in. So they waited 25 minutes for an order that wasn't coming.
Yeah.
And I felt so bad for them. But I
I
think
did
he
too.
comped them a bunch of stuff.
I don't know, but the coconut shrimp was so good. I really enjoyed it. I'm glad that we got that other order, because if I had only gotten 4, I would be sad.
Pina colada sauce was really
Yeah.
good. I don't remember pina colada sauce.
I normally don't like sauce, but that sauce was amazing. So we had a bunch of shrimpies, and then we walked back, and now we're here.
Yeah.
Oh, we got shaved ice again. I forgot to say that. On our way to dinner. We got half pineapple and half Lee Hing because of the tour guide doing that.
It wasn't quite as good as last time, but I think what was the problem was we only got 2. Last time we got 3
Flavors he's talking
flavors.
about.
and so the middle wasn't quite
As concentrated.
And I think if we had gotten 3, there would have been more liquid through it.
Yeah.
But since we got 2, I think it was a little.
We also said that we wanted condensed milk, and they didn't put it on there. And
But
we
they
went,
didn't charge us for it.
Yeah.
I looked at my receipt; it wasn't on there.
And we went to the same place that we had gone to last night. So we've talked for like 45 minutes, I think. I don't know. I'm so tired. So
We're in bed, and we'll
we're
see you
gonna go
tomorrow.
to bed. Adventures to come.